Hello everyone! This is Running on Empty Food Review. Well, hello ladies, gentlemen, and everyone watching. Welcome one and all to this newest edition of the Running on Empty Food Review series. I'm your host, the Report of the Week. Always a pleasure to be here. McDonald's. They did it. What exactly did they do? They took a classic. They took the Big Mac. And it's got me thinking, and surely other people are thinking it too. Did they go too far? Is this just too much? Because this is the Big Mac, right? This isn't the tiny Mac. This is the famous Big Mac sandwich. And they did something to it. They did something that has never been done before. Actually, it has been done before. They did it 4 years ago, but it sounds better if I pretend that never happened. What did they do to it? They took the Big Mac, and they doubled the amount of beef on it. That's right. McDonald's has now released the double Big Mac for a limited time, as if the option to add extra meat to your Big Mac burger never existed before this point in time. Now it does, because now officially you can get a double Big Mac. Yeah, that's right. It's one of these releases that it has some people talking. It's the Big Mac. It's an iconic sandwich. Everyone, when you think of McDonald's, you think of the Golden Arches, and you think of the fries, and you think of the Big Mac sandwich. So any sort of change to such an iconic item does get people talking. It drums people's interest up. And some people they've been saying mixed things about this release. Essentially what it is, as I sort of tongue-in-cheek pointed out, you have the Big Mac, which is pretty much unchanged, right? It has the beef patties, it has lettuce, it has the cheese, pickles, onions, and of course, the secret sauce. It usually has 2 beef patties. That's the big appeal. It has the 2 beef patties, and then, it's split with the middle bun. Now, if you get the double Big Mac, it has 4 patties on it instead of 2, so it's essentially, as you'll see in a moment, has the 2 patties on the top and then the 2 on the bottom. They are still separated by that middle bun. And that's all that there is to it. It's just a Big Mac with some extra meat to it. But anyway, some people have been saying that maybe it's too much of a good thing, as they said, that some individuals contend anyway, that the Big Mac is just right with 2 beef patties, and that anything more than that kind of offsets the balance of everything and doesn't make it as enjoyable. Now, whether that's true or not, I'm going to find out in tonight's review. And essentially, it's going to be pretty straightforward. It's a Big Mac. I've reviewed the Big Mac probably a dozen times already, so I don't know how much there really is to say. So essentially, I'm going to be looking at this, see how easy it is to eat, and does the extra meat make it worth it? Does it really add to it? Does it detract? Does it make it too sloppy to eat? Does it cancel anything out? And just see what sort of effect, if any, has it on this iconic sandwich. I have also noticed, as far as the double Big Mac goes, it seems to be available at every McDonald's. But I have noticed that online, it's not on every online, let's say, delivery service. Some it's there, some it's not. But if you go to the store, 100% they'll know what you're talking about, and you'll be able to get one. But there are some services, like DoorDash, for instance, that may have it as well. And price-wise, the price varies based on location. I've heard people say that it's generally the cost of a Big Mac with an extra charge of around $1.50. So whatever the Big Mac is in your area, add $1.50 to perhaps $2 to it, and that's what the price of this is. In my case, the double Big Mac came out to the price of around $7.50 for the sandwich by itself. No meal, no sides, no drink, just the sandwich, $7.50. Some people have said theirs was $6. Other people said theirs was $8. So the price shall vary. Anyway, just going to try it out, and that's all that there is to it. There's the McDonald's insignia, Big Mac, or as I famously back in 2012 called it, I called it a Big Back. I did once, I think. Unintentionally, I should add. It does look a little bigger. Definitely does. And now, last thing I want to do is drop this by accident. Then that would be a disaster. So you could see, has the two patties there on the top, just stacked up like that, and then the two on the bottom. You could see the lettuce, some of which is falling off, but that's no big deal. The middle bun, cheese, pickles right there. Has onions as well. Onions and the secret sauce. You don't want to know what would happen if you found out what the secret sauce really is. That's why it's a secret. And it is a closely guarded secret at that. Believe me, if you thought the CIA was the real deal, forget it. You don't even know the intelligence that goes into keeping that sauce a secret. Forget it. You don't even want to know. Believe me. So, that said, you saw what it looked like, I would wager. I know what it looks like. Let's see what difference all the meat makes, if any. The double Big Mac from McDonald's, it's going in. Alright, so I just wanted to make sure I had enough time to give a proper assessment, because the eating segment was going to be pretty monotonous. So, I'll show you just this quick cross-section, and then get to it. You could see, right there, you could easily see all 4 beef patties. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there, stacked on top of each other like that. So, what do I notice? As far as the quality of the sandwich is concerned, as far as the integrity of the ingredients, everything is perfectly fine. The buns are fresh. The good sign is that the top bun, despite the pressure that I was putting on it, as I'll explain in a moment, it didn't disintegrate. Sometimes, I'll have I've ran into this problem with a Big Mac before, where the bun is going to be a little stale, and I'll try to get a good grasp on it, and it just sort of disintegrates, and that's never a good sign, and I've seen it happen all too many times, especially at McDonald's, but in this case, the bun is most definitely fresh, and that's good. That's what you hope to see. As far as the quality of the meat is concerned as well, yeah, it's McDonald's, it's fast food, that's, you obviously aren't going to expect this to be like some sort of gourmet burger. But all things considered, it's still juicy, it's flavorful. I could definitely taste, of course, the salt and pepper seasoning that they have on the beef. So I could definitely taste that. It's especially pronounced because there's 4 patties, all of which are seasoned to an extent, compared to the usual 2. So that sort of note is a little stronger in the double Big Mac than it would be in a single, and likewise the flavor of the meat is just a little more pronounced. You could just taste it a little bit more. There's obviously, volume-wise, more in every single bite. As far as the rest of the ingredients go, the lettuce is fine for what it is. Not the highest quality in the world. The onions you could taste. Let's see. Pickle is there. So, just looking. I was curious how many pickles they had on it, because I could taste a good amount of the pickles, and I was curious if they put extra pickles on it because it's got the two patties, but it doesn't really look like it. I think the pickles were just a little bit more, perhaps on the flavorful side, so, that's all that there really is to it. The Thousand Island dressing, aka the secret sauce, they did put a bit more of that on. That's what just got me thinking for a moment. I was thinking, it seemed as though, and maybe this is just how it could just be based on location, maybe they felt to compensate for the extra meat. Maybe this is just what they do at this one. They put a little bit more of the secret sauce on this Big Mac than they normally seem to. And as a result, the one thing that I noticed, because for the most part it tastes fine for what it is. There really aren't any major issues here. It doesn't taste bad. It doesn't taste gross. It's your standard McDonald's, standard fast food, and it's fine for what it is. So if you want to just end the review right now and, save a couple more minutes of your time, it's fine for what it is, and you could leave right now if you'd like. Because that's the final assessment, really. The one thing, though, if you're more concerned about, let's say, the practicality of eating this goes, or, maybe you're trying to eat this in the car or something and you don't want it to be all that messy, this is where my one point comes in. In my case, they put, it looks like a little bit more Thousand Island dressing on this. And here's the thing. When there's all the beef patties on this makes it a bit of a bigger sandwich than the regular Big Mac is, obviously, because it's going to be a little higher because there's more ingredients, right? It doesn't really need to be explained. In my case, and I can't speak for everyone, I can only speak for myself, and it is what it is, but I'm going to mention it anyway. I'm sure you all know, obviously, that my bites aren't the biggest in the world, and there's nothing that I could really do about that. Believe me, it's not as though I do that to try to troll everyone or anything like that. It's literally my jaw only opens a certain span, and I really cannot physically take a bite bigger than what I do. If I did, maybe, I don't know, dislocate my jaw or something like that. I don't really want to risk any sort of messing things up in that regard just to take a bigger bite out of a burger. So, in my case, because I can't take the biggest bites in the world, trying to get the volume of all of this in my mouth at once can prove a bit challenging. Now, for some people, that's not going to be an issue. You could just take a giant bite and just practically eat the thing in one gulp, and then this doesn't really apply. But if you take smaller bites like me, it might be challenging to get all 4 patties into one bite. So what do I do, of course, to try to compensate for that? I'll apply some pressure to the top and bottom bun to make it a little smaller, so then I could take a more sufficient and reasonable, size bite for me anyway, and could still get a full flavor of this sandwich. In doing so, though, because it's a bit heavier on the sauce, when you squeeze it, the sauce is going to start dripping out, and it's sort of going to come out every which way. So there was instance after instance, and I'm sure you could even start to see it in the limited time that I was on camera eating this, kept getting on my face, and the sauce kept coming out, and it was proving to be a bit of a messy consumption of it. Because as I'm squeezing it, there's some grease coming out as well, and the sauce is dripping out everywhere. And another problem is then the middle bun starts slipping toward the back, and it could get a bit messy. And for those of you who frequently eat Big Macs, I'm sure you know what I mean. Sometimes it could just get a bit messy and it gets disproportionate. It could turn into like a sloppy sort of sandwich. So that's the one point that I raise. It's something that I have to deal with. It might not even apply to you. If you just take huge bites, or even probably normal-sized bites compared to what I can do, it might not be a big issue, but maybe it still will. It might be to the point where it's even quite large. Even if you take a normal bite, you still might have to squeeze it, and then it could get a bit messy. And that's the one thing that I wanted to mention there. I don't find this overwhelming. I don't find it that the beef or anything is too much. I don't think it's too much of a good or a bad thing. It tastes fine for what it is. And in my opinion, the amount of beef is still sufficient. It's not over the top or any of that. I just find that it could be a bit of a messy sandwich for some. And that's just something to be mindful of if, let's say, you're on break or something and you just want to eat this in the car and then you got to get back to work and, you don't want to get it all over you or anything. Just bear that in mind. It could be a little bit of a messy sandwich. And that's up to you if you want to do anything with that information or not, but that's about it. So, all things considered, I think it's fine for what it is. And here's a pro tip. Even when they get rid of this promotion, I should say, and they say, well, the double Big Mac is gone, and it was here for a limited time only, and now you can never get it again, you could still just go to McDonald's anytime and order a Big Mac with extra beef, and you could still get a double Big Mac. So just because it's not explicitly on the menu anymore, if you're watching this video down the road a ways, you could still get it. So if you like it, you like it. If not, then get a regular Big Mac, and there you go, problem solved. So therefore, out of 10, yeah, it's a little pricey, but I think it's fine for what it is, albeit a little messy. So therefore, I am going to give the double Big Mac from McDonald's a 7 out of 10. And that's all that I have for you. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm your host, The Report of the Week.